Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have a very special and inspired interview with Oliver. Oliver is from Newcastle in the UK, but he lives in London. Oliver was in the Big Brother 10 in 2009 in the UK. So let's see what Oliver has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello.
Hello there, how are you?
Hello, Oliver. I'm very well. How are you doing today?
I'm very, very well indeed. It is Saturday, it's pouring with rain, but what can you do? You live in England.
I know. And did you survive on the hurricane last night?
What, the storm? What's her name? Storm Eunice?
Yeah.
It was fine. Yeah, it was fine.
I left work yesterday and I was like, should I go to the cinema? Should I go home? Because it was like around 5 o'clock and outside it looks really dark, this very big storm coming. And I was like, oh my God, I think I should go home. But I said, no, I'm going to go to the cinema. And I was at the cinema. After 2 hours and a half, I left and it was clear sky. I was like, oh my God, what's happening?
Well, yesterday I was on. I was meant to be off work yesterday because I was supposed to be going to see some friends in Bristol, but all the trains were cancelled. So I was like, what will I do? So I just went home and just watched loads of movies at home. It's boring.
Oliver, tell me where you're from.
Originally, I'm from a place up northeast England called Newcastle.
Okay.
So I'm from Newcastle originally, but I've been living in London now for 12 years. So I'm in London.
Oh, so you live in London now? I thought you were from I thought you were living in Newcastle.
No, not long time ago, 12 years ago.
Oh my God! So you and your family are back in Newcastle?
Well, my dad actually lives with me, so I'm actually caring for him. He came down to visit me 2 years ago because my dad normally comes for a month around Easter. So because he was due to come in the April, then we went into lockdown, basically meaning that he couldn't come. So as soon as Boris Johnson said you can go to another city, I drove up, got my dad, brought him down. We were 10 days into he was staying for a month, 10 days into the stay. And I went down in the morning and he was being sick black, which normally means blood. So I was on the phone to the doctor saying, look, I think my dad's not very well. And he just collapsed unconscious and all the black was coming out. So they rushed him into hospital and they realized he had an ulcer inside that had burst, which we didn't know he had. So when they went in to stop the bleed, they severed the main artery to his liver and tore his bowel in 3 places. So he ended up really sick. So I said to my dad, look, I think you should just live with me. So my dad lives with me now. So literally looking after my dad. So it keeps us busy anyway.
Sweet, very sweet. Oliver, before we start the game, and what do you do for a living, Oliver?
So I am in property. So for the past 10 years in London, I've renovated houses. So I basically buy houses, move in, do them up, and then do that. That's my hobby. And then for a job, I'm a sales manager for an estate agency, so real estate. And I work in Clapham, so it's not far from where I live now. So it's very good. So basically, I just go around. I basically get paid to go around everyone's houses, getting all the ideas. It's great. So I'm going around saying, what color is this on the walls? As you can see, the color of my bedroom walls. I think I stole it from someone's house. I was like, what color is this? So it's very good. So all of my houses have been a combination of every one of the best houses I've ever seen. So I'm very lucky. So I love property and I love people. So it makes sense to do this as a job. So yeah.
Amazing. Actually, you're saying that you work in Clapham. I'm very close to Clapham. I live in Brixton. In New Brixton. I live in Stratton Hill.
No, shut up. Oh, that's hilarious. I could have come round to yours. We could have done it at your house. I'm joking. I'm in Balham, so not far from you, I guess. Yeah, live in Balham, work in Clapham. It is. I wasn't sure where you were. I was going to ask you. I thought you were maybe in America or I don't bloody know. I was just like, I wasn't sure where you were in the world. I should have really asked. And because you've got the lights on, I thought it looks like it's nighttime. Never mind.
Amazing, my goodness, they're my neighbor here, just across the road.
Yeah, literally, I can wave to you, yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, literally.
I think we should do the interview live, not through Zoom.
Literally, I'll just come on in, can you imagine? come and jump on the bed with us, Howie. I'm joking. Can you imagine?
We leave the Magic Box season 2. We do together, like live.
Yeah, literally.
Oliver, so tell me what you like the most about living in London.
If I'm honest with you, what I love about London is, I mean, where I'm from in Newcastle, it's amazing. I love where I'm from. It's very beautiful, lots of culture, like shops, bars, restaurants. It's amazing, and it's very cheap to live up there. I mean, coming to London, I actually did a TV show many years ago, and then after that, I moved to London because London's the place I think where if you're young and you want to, you want to be successful, you want to have a career. I think this is the place to be. It's like the capital of the country, and it kind of made sense to do that. So I think the thing that I love about London is, I mean, I don't go out as much nowadays, but when I was young, you could go out in London to the same bar every single night and you'll never see the same people again, which is quite lucky. If you go out and get drunk and make a fool of yourself, you're like, great, I can go back and I'll never have to see them again. So that's normally quite good. But no, but that's the thing with London. It's buzzing all the time. There's always something to do. You can go to the cinema anytime. There's stuff, just movies, theatres, everything. So there's lots of bars, restaurants, different scenes. I always think of London as like, it's like the little like cities and villages all in one. It's almost like Newcastle where I'm from, but like it's loads of just different cities. So you've got like Balham, like you say, you've got Streatham, you've got Brixton, you've got Clapham. All of those are just right next to each other, but they all have a very different feel, and they all have different things, like a different reason why people live there, for schools, whatever, you know what I mean? So I just love it. It's like lots of little cities all in one, and there's so many people, and obviously it's great if you're single as well, because you can hopefully meet someone as well.
Yeah, I think London is the place for sure. I think people, they move to London for the opportunities, you know. I've been here longer than you, actually. I've been here for 17 years now, and it's just like, it feels like home. I love London. I think it suits me well. It fits me well. I like, as you said, there's always something happening. You never get bored. So there's always something, for sure. Okay, Oliver, so are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your views? Yeah?
I'm ready. Oh God, I'm ready.
Welcome to Lillian and the Magic Box. So I have here my best friend. Full of random fun questions, okay? I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to move a little bit before the first question.
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Okay, Oliver, so just before we start the game, through the journey, if there is a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't have an answer, always can change, okay? It's all very friendly.
Yes.
First question for you is, tell us about your earliest memory in life.
My earliest memory in life? God, it would probably be when I can remember being quite young. Maybe probably like nursery. I think being in nursery, and I can remember nursery. I remember there was once, so my uncle, I don't know why, but I stayed at my uncle's because me and my cousin are very similar age, and I was very young. So my cousin, he's a bit of a liar, and I mean his parents, he is, like, bless him. I mean, hopefully he's changed now. I haven't seen him in years, but he was always just a bit of a liar. So I basically stayed at their house, and they went to take us to school the next day, and I was like, oh no, I'm off today. And they were like, yeah, of course you are. So they took us, because we went to different schools, me and my cousin. And I got to school and like, it was shut. And I went, I did tell you this, but I remember that. I think it was nursery or like reception, which is like year one of little school, if that makes sense. So I remember that was quite, I could also remember like playing around in nursery as well. So that would be like one of my earliest memories, really. Like school, I just think, when I think back to being young, it was just lots of fun and laughter. I think I was very lucky. I had lots of nice people in my life, good family, friends. Just used to play games. And I think as we got older, I'm probably answering all your questions in one go. Can you tell? You'll have nothing to ask, giving me life story. But I can just remember when we were like grown up, I would be out, if we're off school or if it was the holidays or whatever, we would just go out for the day and we'd be gone. Like, do you know what I mean? We'd literally go out all day, we'd make dens, like we'd go to like whatever, the farmers' fields, playing on the haystacks, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Just like, we'd have fun. It was just great, really, if I'm honest with you.
Absolutely. I think that time is not go back anymore. I was talking to somebody on the interview 2 days ago, and I think this new generation now, sadly, they're not gonna be able to, to live this way because the technology took over, So there's always a good part as well, and those moments, they are unforgettable for sure. And say that, do you have siblings?
Yes, I have a sister that is 1 year younger, and I have a brother that is 9 years younger. So I'm the oldest, and then I've got like 1 and 1 year. So one of each, brother and a sister. So.
Yeah, good. Next question. Let's do it. Before the next question, I was checking your profile, and you say that you're a former of Mr. Newcastle.
Yes. Yeah. Oh God. So basically, yeah. God, that's hilarious. Yeah, so again, I was only 20, I was a baby. So I'd just come out of a relationship with a girl. I'd been with her for 5 years. And a bisexual girl moved into my spare room and she kept saying, come out in the gay scene. I was like, nah, there's no way, like why? And then she brought us out in the gay scene, ended up going out. And then I used to go with girls at that time and then ended up going with a guy. And then that was kind of it for me. And then 2007, I was basically on a night out, and the Mr. Gay UK was the one going around all these big cities, and it was a Thursday night, I remember, and my mates kept putting my name in, and I was like, I'm not doing it, man, you're mad. So I kept taking my name out. I was like, I'm not doing that, there's no way. And then literally they just called my name, and I was like, so I literally had 2 bottles of like Alka Pops, whatever I was drinking at the time. I just literally downed them both in one go, and I just went on stage drunk. So the first heat was just going on talking. Next one was you had to go on just like, I think with no top on, then I think it was just in your underwear. Luckily I had good underwear on. So I was like, Jesus. So that was good. And then I won. And then obviously went on to the final and stuff, which was really, really good. And it was, I think that was kind of the beginning for me that just made us realize that I could kind of, if you put your mind to something, you can kind of do anything. Not that was something that I even wanted to do, but it just, off the back of that, it opened like different doors for me. And I kind of just, it was a good experience, I think, if I'm honest with you.
Absolutely. And being a very good looking guy, do you see that as a plus for you, or did you always find some difficulties through your life because being a handsome guy?
Well, thank you for saying that. I just think that I don't think of myself like that. I'm just quite humble, if I'm honest with you. But I think I've got through my life, I think, by obviously the things that I've done have opened doors for me, of course. But I really feel that I try and be as kind as I can. Honestly, everything I do is from a good heart. Like, I swear down, I try my best. If someone needs something, whether it's a stranger, whether it's a friend, whether it's a family member, I'll go out my way to help anyone. And I think there's so many people on, especially now that everyone's on social media and whatnot. I do feel that quite a lot of people go on and on about kindness and being kind, and I see them, they're just not kind. All they do is just pull others down, and the bitching and the nasty. And people just portray this image of kindness when in reality they aren't very kind themselves. Whereas with me, everything I do, like whether it's a stranger I meet on the tube, whether it's someone I meet in the shop, whether it's whatever, I do go above and beyond to try and help people, even strangers, because I think you don't know what's going on in anybody's life. And I honestly think, hand in my heart, that's why my life's been so good. I think because I've done things from a good heart, a kind place. And then off the back of that, I think just good things have happened to me. Like, I don't do something good for someone thinking they're gonna do something for me or what the universe is gonna do. But I genuinely do think that if you do something from a good heart, it naturally will come back. Like when I was young, my mum would always say, you reap what you sow. She would always say, what goes around comes around. Like, life's a bitch and then you marry one. She did used to say that. But you know what I mean? But it's very much, there's lots of these things that you say. And like, I think that as you get older, they do come true. And I think, like, I can remember when I was young. I mean, I don't know if you can see now. Where is it? In fact, it's in that leaf there. So basically, there was a girl at college. She ended up bloody stabbing us. Like, honestly, it was mad. So basically, she had a bit of a crush on us at college. And I had a girlfriend at the time. And she used to go in the toilets and she used to tell the girls to blow smoke in her eyes. So she would come out and it looked like she'd been crying. And I'd be like, oh, are you okay? And I'd give her a cuddle. And then I used to bring her back to my house. And at the time, I was only like 16, 17. So I still lived at home. And then my mum would be like, will you stop bringing back all these? Because I used to bring people back thinking I could because she was in care and she didn't have like a very good life. And I basically felt like I could change it. My mum was like, you need to stop bringing these kind of people back. So, some people you can't help. But even when I was like 16 years old, I was like trying to help the world. And there was this one night, because I moved out when I was 18, and she came to my flat. And I can't remember what it was, but we had a bit of a disagreement. So I walked her home because it was late and it was dark. And then as I left, she come up the street shouting. And I looked, I could see she had a knife behind her back, like a big kitchen knife that she used to sharpen every day. She's like a bit nuts in her head. Anyway, and basically, I remember it was in the summer, so I had my white England football top on. And basically, I picked up the phone to my sister and I rang and I said, Sarah, I said, if anything happens to me, it's such and such is stabbed, it's got a knife. And literally, she lunged at us. And obviously, my heart's there. She stabbed us there. So she literally was going for my heart, really. And then obviously, she stabbed us in the arm, and then all the blood all over my white top. So I knocked the knife out of her hand and then pushed her onto the car. And then this woman opened her window and was like, yeah, get off my car. She was like, watch my car. And I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, have you seen this? She stabbed us. And the woman was like, yeah, I know, she's effing nuts. And then basically the police came. And all I said to her, I rang an ambulance to say, hi, I've been stabbed. Like, I just said to them, look, this girl stabbed us. I didn't ring the police. And all I wanted was an apology. And she just stood there and went, I'm not apologizing. She said, I'm not apologizing. She said, I'm in care. She went, I'll get away with it and all this. And I was like, wow. All I've done is try to help her, and I got stabbed. But anyway, attempted murder, really. But the thing is, then again, I don't hold grudges, like I said, against anyone. So she did contact me years later, about 5 or 6 years later, and just said, look, I'm really sorry for what I did. And I just said, you know what, like, it hasn't killed us. Like, good luck to you. Like, I don't hold grudges against anybody, really. And again, I don't hold on to negative things in my head. It's actually other people who remind me, can you remember when this person did that? Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. Because I remember the good, I don't remember the bad. So maybe that's a good thing to have. I don't know. But yeah, bit of a story for you.
Oh my God, what a story. Yeah. My God. My goodness. But I'm glad to see that, you have this mindset. I think you're totally right. I think those bad feelings, you know what I mean? It's not good for you. It just makes you down, and you do your part. People they do their part as well. If they don't do it in a good way, you know what I mean? It's their way of approaching life. Thanks for sharing this story. My goodness. And you're so young. You're so young at the time as well to manage that and to have this mindset. It's amazing. Very good. Next question for you is, who would you swap lives with for a day if you could?
Ooh, who would I swap lives with? Anybody. God. I think, do you know, if I'm honest with you, like I think it would probably be like somebody like, oh my God, two things. I mean, when I was young, I always wanted to be like a singer and stuff. So I would love to be like on a stage, like be like a really big singer and just like have all the crowd and all that sort of thing. So I would probably love that. But also, I would love to be like the Queen or something for the day. Like, obviously not now because she's 95, God love her. But like when she was younger, if I was in my body, but like everyone thought I was the Queen, just going around like all the palaces and that. Can you imagine just like jumping in a helicopter, going up the next one? I think it would be really, because it's one of those things like you look at the palaces and their life and you think, I wonder what that would be like. So it would be quite cool. I'd probably end up really fat though, because I'd be like ringing the bell saying, listen, will you bring us this food? Like, I'd be like so fat. If I had my own chef, can you imagine? It'd be amazing. But so yeah, just off the top of my memory, I'll probably put the phone down and think, oh, I would rather be that person. But in my head, it would be either a singer or someone like that, or the Queen, just so you can be like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah.
Actually, someone I think asked me this question as well, or I asked someone, I don't remember, but the person said the same thing as well. Imagine being in her skin for 24 hours just to see how it is to be the Queen of England. Can you imagine?
Absolutely, waking up. Obviously, I mean, she's probably got a lot, but I wouldn't want it to be a busy day where I've got to do loads of things. I want it to be a day where I just have a little look around the palace, play with the dogs, maybe ride my horse or whatever I do. I don't know. Have a picnic in the garden, invite them all over.
Want to be in her skin when she's very chill, like her off day. Like, okay, I'm the Queen. I can do what I want.
Definitely. Not when I've got to go and meet people and shake their hands and that. I couldn't be bothered with that. But I would want to do it when it's like good and I'm like going all like the nice things and that, But yeah.
I admire her a lot. I think she's never going to be someone like her. Like, my God, it's going to be Jubilee now. Can you imagine? She's been in the throne for so long. It's amazing.
Mad.
Amazing, yeah, amazing. Next
Such a long time.
question. Yeah, let's do it. Next question, Oliver. Let's do it. Which movie had a big influence on you?
Oh, gosh, this is really like, I don't know. This is gonna sound really fucking gay. Well, actually, do you know what? When movies had a big impact. God, I haven't seen loads of films, even though I watched like 3 yesterday. But do you know which my favorite film of all time is Pretty Woman? Do you know? Like, obviously, well, I've got 3. I would say the first one is Pretty Woman. I do love My Sister's Keeper. I think that's a really, really nice one. And I also like The Green Mile because he didn't do it, and I'm like, I always cry, like always. But no, I think Pretty Woman because she was just like a normal girl. She obviously was very smart, and just from a normal upbringing, and she found her Prince Charming. So maybe that's what I'm looking for. I'm obviously not a prostitute, but yeah, but like it's whatever. Do you know what I mean? But I do think that was a really good film because I think it just showed you that like anyone gets a happy ending, even if like you are. But at the end of the day, I don't think of her as a bad person. I think she did what she had to do. And I'm a strong believer that in our lives, we are doing what we're supposed to be doing right now. And even if you are a prostitute, or you're doing OnlyFans, or you are you haven't got a job, that's what you're supposed to be doing at the moment. And I just learn that just everything happens for a reason. I'm a strong believer of that. And I think if you found yourself in that position where you were having to do that as a job, I would just be thinking, well, it is a job, and I'd be thinking, where's me rich Edgar?
Not totally. I think, I mean, it doesn't matter what you do, you know what I mean? Nowadays, I think people, you know, if don't harm people, if don't go bad to it, whatever you do, it's not judgmental, you know, what makes you happy, you know, that's the only way. And I think that movie, it brought that, you know, to the society, you know what I mean? You don't need to, you can do whatever you want, you can be whatever you need, we don't know what is going on in other people's lives, you know what I mean? Sometimes you see a lot of, you don't know what's going on, and there are no, we cannot judge people, never judge the book by the cover, because you don't know what's going on.
But you can't. But I think there are so many people, I think, who do judge others by what they do, or even if someone was homeless. I mean, anything could happen to any of us at any time in our life where you lose your job, you lose your home, and you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? You've got nothing. And I think we're maybe very fortunate that we have got a roof over our heads, but there are some people in this country, other countries that haven't got that luxury. And I think it is very, very sad. And that's why you cannot judge a book by its cover. But I think going back to Pretty Woman, I think it was nice that she was only doing that because that was a circumstance at that time. She got herself sorted, she found a man, and then she went on and did something different. And then she obviously helped her friend. If you remember Kit, she got Kit off the streets as well. And like, I just think that's kind of a bit of me. I think, yeah, if I can help a friend, I'll be like, Howie, we're going to get you on a college course. But yeah.
Next question, Oliver, let's do it. Before the next one, so you've been a TV reality show finalist, yeah?
Oh my God, yes.
Tell a little bit about it.
So I appeared in a TV show in the UK called Big Brother. So I appeared on that. Yes, I was very young.
Oh my God!
A bit of a long story, but I basically so I actually applied in 2007 originally, when I was 20, and then obviously at that time I wasn't out. It probably wouldn't have been the right time, but I'd watched the show. So Big Brother in the UK started when I was 11 years old. And I used to watch it every single year. So when the music would start, you were like, here's the summer. I used to love it. And then when Jade Goody was on, when I was 15, like they were rolling around on the floor drunk. And I was like, oh my God, that's like me on a Saturday night in the park. Like, no, when you were a kid and you drink in the park. Maybe just me, hopefully. But basically, I was like, when I'm 18, I'm going to apply. And I never did. Then I was 20. I applied. I got through that. So I applied in the January. And then on March the 10th, 2007, my mum had an aneurysm on the brain and she went into hospital. And she's still in hospital now, 15 years on. So it was traumatic. So when they called me up to say about going to the next stage of the process, I was like, I can't, my mum's in hospital. Then in the May, that was in the March, April. And then in the May, I did Mr. Gay UK anyway. So that was what I was meant to be doing at that time. Then 2008, I wasn't strong enough. And then in 2009, they actually called me up and said, look, the show's coming to Newcastle next week. We'd love for you to audition. And I was like, okay. And at that time, I was with somebody who I really loved and who I'd met and worked together. And he knew that I'd applied for the show. And he said, I would never stop you from doing the show, but I won't be waiting if you do go on. And I was like, what do I do? But we started to argue a little bit and things weren't perfect anymore. So I was like, right, okay. So I told him that I told a little bit of a white lie. So I said, look, I'm helping my dad move some furniture. So he said, I'll help. I was like, no, I just want to spend some time with my dad. So I'm literally at these auditions with me hood up. I had my headphones on, listening to music. Like literally, I was like, there's thousands of people. And I was like, I'm meant to be helping my dad move furniture. I do not want to get spotted. So I had my head down and then somebody tapped us on the shoulder. And I was like, I literally nearly died. I thought someone's recognized us. And literally this girl was like, there was a man. So there was somebody at the top of the stairs and they just pulled me out of the crowd. And then they put like a red stamp on my hand. And then I went to the end of the audition. And then I was like, oh, this is cool. And then you're not meant to tell anyone. And I went to work and I was telling everyone, I've got through this stage. And you're not meant to tell anyone, but me being the bloody mouth, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going on Big Brother. I was like, oh. Anyway, so I went into hiding. And when I was 1 week into the hiding, I went to the south of France. So it was perfect. So every day I had 2 chaperones with me. And it was lovely. Just went to the south of France. It was hot. I had baby oil on every day, getting the tan, doing exercises. I was like, this is fine. And then the rang is 1 week into. So when we went into hiding, there was 50 people went into hiding, but only 15 went in. So 35 people would have probably been told it's not your year or whatever. So that was it. And then the cold is 1 week into it. They were like, we really want you to be a housemate. And I was like, wow, that would be amazing. And yeah, it was. So that was like, it was something I'd always wanted. I never ever wanted to be famous. I really wanted to do the show. And for me, I'm very competitive. That's why I do sales as a job, I suppose. I'm very competitive as a person. And firstly, can I get on the show? And secondly, how far will I make it? And I think I was on there for 93 days. So I was in there from day one to the final. So I feel like I got every little drop out of it. I always said, if they tried to put me in halfway through, I'd be like, nah, I'm not doing it. But I was there from day one to the very end. I got everything out of it. I learned a lot about me. And then obviously I moved to London after that, and then obviously got on with my life. But for me, it was a positive thing really. But it was me dreaming. I think by me getting on the show, I'd won the show just by getting on. So it was exciting. So
amazing. Yeah. God, that's amazing, Oliver. Wow, that's very interesting. You know what? In Brazil now, it's happening. Brazil is one of the countries that the Big Brother is still like a big a reality show. And actually it's happening now in Brazil. Big Brother is for 22 years. Can you imagine? Every year is this. Yeah, 22 years. And every year is like everyone, it's very big, you know what I mean? For example, when I in the morning or in the afternoon, when I put my social media, it's all about Big Brother right now in Brazil. And nowadays in Brazil, for the first time, they did like, they did like half of the house, they are like regular people, like regular, not knowing people. The other half, they are celebrities, like singers. Or so they kind of actually second time. Last year they did as well. This time they did again. So yeah, very interesting. Amazing. I have a big trick to the show. Wow.
But it was really, really good. But I think with me though, it was kind of like when I did it, I feel like everybody was just like, obviously I'd done Mr. Newcastle for the Gay UK and all that, but people weren't like, I think as the years went on in the UK, it became where everyone who got on was like, they'd dated a footballer or they'd done something. Whereas at the very beginning of Big Brother, it was very much like a social experiment where you go on and it's like just random people. Like, and it's almost like, you know, if you think of a job, when you work in a job, if there's like 15 people in a job, you're not going to be friends with all of the 15. And that's the same with Big Brother. We all had our characters before we went in. So apparently I was the gay with no values. Can you imagine the cheek? That apparently, because I met one of the producers after on a night out, and he said apparently I was meant to be the gay with no values. I was like, wow. So that was my role. But the thing is, it's like you've got 24 hours out of one. So you see 1 hour, take away the adverts, you see 45 minutes of 24 hours. So they can edit it and they can just show you as the fun one, the bitchy one, like whatever your role is. But yeah, so that was kind of it. It was fun. Like for me, it was a good experience. I learned a lot about me, I think, and then obviously, yeah, then moved to London. So
very good. Good one. Next question is, if you could give just one advice for the Prime Minister, what would you say? Just one.
What advice?
Yeah, just one advice. If you could listen, if he's watching out this show, the interview, and he said, okay, I want Oliver, I want to listen to his advice, what that would be. Just one.
Oh my God. Well, the thing is, it might be something to do with COVID, because I mean, they did, I think, but the only thing is, I think this COVID, it's a very unknown time, and I think there's no world leader, or there's no country with that knows. Everyone's doing it a little bit different. I think it's kind of unprecedented times. I think never in our lifetime did we probably think that you could shut down the whole world, but we did. And I just think it now gets to a point where you're like, look, come on, like we'll have to. And I think in England anyway, I think Boris is relaxing things, and he's kind of saying, he's letting us have a bit more freedom, and I don't think you have to wear masks as much and stuff like that. So things are more relaxed. I think the only thing I'd probably say to him is about these parties that are going on at the moment. I don't know if you've seen it in the newspapers, but apparently they've been having loads of parties and stuff. So it would probably be just try and tell the truth. But like, I think trying to ask a politician to tell the truth, it's just never going to happen, is it? So yeah, so my advice probably would fall on deaf ears, I think. Yeah.
Very good. Next question. Let's do Oliver. Next question for you is, what makes you a unique person?
Unique, I would say, oh God, what makes me unique? I would say, well, that's a bit cliche, me, but I would say my personality, and I would say my heart, because like I say, I try and be as kind as I can to everyone I meet. And I would say that's kind of what makes you unique. That's not to say that there aren't kind people in the world, but I think my heart and my soul, I suppose, that's what makes me different to others. And I think it makes me unique. And hopefully everyone that I meet, they're kind of like that. I don't know.
Good.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Next one. Let's do it. Right. When I was checking your profile, it says, proud dad of Bella and Maisie.
Correct, yes.
Tell me, who are they?
So those are my dogs. So Bella is the Yorkshire Terrier and Maisie is the Pomeranian. So I basically, I was actually with somebody for 5-6 years when we were engaged for 5 years. And I actually I always wanted a dog. And this one day I was in the office at work and this girl went past with the smallest Yorkshire Terrier I've ever seen. And we had Yorkshire Terriers growing up. So like I went out and obviously I was like, oh my God, so I was kissing this dog. And she said, well, when I got him 2 weeks ago, the twin was still there. So I called this woman up and said, hi, I said, have you got a dog? She went, yeah, I've got a little girl left. So I was like, I rang my fiance. I was like, hi, it's just me. We're getting a dog. He went, I know when we've done the house. I said, no, tonight. Like literally. So we went and got this dog. And Bella, the Yorkshire Terrier, just wants to play with a ball. Even now at 5, she's 5.5 now. All she wants to do is just play. A little tail wags. She just wants to play with the ball. So when we had her for 6 months, I went to my fiance. I said, should we not get another one? Because to keep her company. So we went and got a Pomeranian, and the Pomeranian just wants to be cuddled. If she was here now, she would be up here. She just wants to be cuddled. So you've got one that wants to play, the other one just wants to be cuddled. So they're very, very different, which I suppose is good. But I mean, you throw the ball, the Yorkshire Terrier runs for it, the Pomeranian runs a little bit and just sits down and looks as if to say, nah, I'm not doing this. So yeah, it's good. Yeah.
How old are they?
5.5 and 5. But they're very good, they're very loving, and they're very, very small. So people, I didn't realize they were going to be as small, like they're literally like teacup tiny things. So everybody sees them and they're like, oh my God, are the puppies? I'm like, Matt, they're like 5, nearly 6. So it's like, yeah, everybody thinks that they're just babies, but they're really not. They're like, but they are so loving. And I think for me, having children, having dogs, I think that's kind of what gives you life a purpose, really. And it's nice to be able to have them. So I'm very lucky.
Good one. Next question is, what is the most difficult thing have you ever done?
Oh my God, the most difficult thing. Oh my God, the most difficult. Well, the thing is, again, I mean, God, I could write a bloody book. But you'll probably find out when you Google us after. But so basically in 2013, so it was 4 years after Big Brother, as my mum's in hospital, I went up to Newcastle and I threw a big, again being kind, threw a big party for my sister. So when we were having a party, after my brother was only 15 years old, so we left the party early to go to my sister's house, me, my brother and sister, because we were all just so happy we were together. And my sister's work uniform was at my hotel because I'd went up to Newcastle for the party, and basically I ran in the hotel to grab my sister's stuff, and when I was in there, my brother and sister got out the car to have a cigarette, which I never knew. And when I came out, there was 3 men that punched my brother in the face and they were chasing him around the car. So I ran down and said, whoa, what's going on? And they were like, who the F are you? So I defended my brother, who was only 15, and my sister. One of the guys ended up with a broken ankle, and I ended up going to prison, which was mad, which was like, wow. It was like one of those things where you're like, do you know when you think in your life, because I'm not a bad person, but you're like, I will defend anyone. If I'm out, not that I'm like Rocky on out, but like if we're out and something started, I'll defend someone, you know? And I basically was sent to prison but again, out of 365 days of the year, the day I was sent to prison was my birthday. So can you imagine, like, so on my birthday night, I never cried once. I literally just was like, wow. And I literally just lay on a top bunk on my birthday looking at the ceiling, but everyone's like burnt the names in and stuff, saying was here and all this. And I just was like, wow. I was like, I'm in prison. I was like, on my birthday. I was planning on going to get my bloody haircut and going on a night out. I was like, amazing. Nah, you're going to prison. So I arrived at prison and the staff were like, oh my God, you look like something from Made in Chelsea, because obviously I didn't look like I belonged in prison. They're like, what are you doing here? And I said, well, do you know what? I shouldn't be here, but I am. So the first day, the lads come banging on my door going, look, your front page. And I was like, no, this is awful. So I was lying in bed and the lads were banging on my door going, look, your front page. And I was like, not good. This is really not good. Like that. Because I didn't mention in the court case, I didn't mention about the Big Brother because I didn't want it to get in the papers, but it got in the papers anyway. So anyway, like that was it. And basically, so I went down the first day and I looked at the jobs list, and I just bought the place. I just actually bought a flat in Streatham actually in 2013, and an old lady had lived there. So every ceiling and every wall was like Artexan. So I was like, I looked at the jobs list and I was like plastering. So I did me plastering. I worked as a drug and alcohol mentor, and there's 5 guys in prison who, because of me, they've broken the cycle. And so I learned a lot about me, and I've also changed 5 people's lives. So for me, it was very, like, the staff used to say it was, what are you doing in here? Like, and I was like, do you know what? I shouldn't be here. But there's so many people, when bad things happen in your life, you focus on the negative and blame the world. Like, I could have come out of prison and been like, do you know what? Like, I'm just going to go. I could have went off the rails. But for me, it was like, wow, this has happened. And I've just, like, the thing is for me, what people don't understand, William, is underneath me are springs. So if you push me down, I actually bounce up higher than I was before. So just keep coming. Like, I love it. Like, how it coming is with your shit. I'm not bothered. Bring it on. And like, seriously. So that's my mentality. And I think everything happens for a reason. And I had so much time, but because I'd done Big Brother, I was thinking in my head, I know I can do it because I've done Big Brother where I was away from the outside world for 3 months. I was like, oh God, I can do this. So I was in there for 6 months, and it opened my eyes. And I think it was more like because I just maybe naively, I thought that everybody could read and write, and it opened my eyes that some people can't. Like, some guys would say they're 60 years old, and I'm reading them a letter from their partner. And that it would break my heart because I'd be thinking, wow, I don't know how you can get to 60 years old and not be able to read or count. Because and in Big Brother, you get the shopping task. Well, in prison on a Monday, you get your shopping as well. So they used to come to us and say, will you count this up for us? Sadly, count it all. I'd be like, yeah. And it was good. And like, I think I was actually very lucky because I don't smoke. So I had all of in my pad, I had all my tuna, I had all my Haribos, I had anything I needed, I had. So I was fine. Like, no, and I did, like, I would go to the gym every day. I got really big. And then there was some guys in there that were quite hot as well, which is good. And but some of them, but because some of them used to post notes under my door, slide notes under my door, saying I used to see you on Big Brother and you're the reason that I like men. And I'd be lying there going, I've got to see them tomorrow. Like they're like telling us that they like us, and I was like, no. So it was funny, but it was one of those things where you just like, you know what, you've got to just roll with the punches. And I came out and I met up with the probation, and the first thing she said was, what do you want to do? Well, when I first left prison, they said you're going to have to carry your passport around with you because the police are going to recognise you and you're going to get stopped. And I just thought in my head, I've never been stopped by the police in my life. And you know what? I've never been stopped by the police ever. I'm not that kind of character. But anyway, I said, okay, yeah. So I got out. I went to the probation. I said, all I want to do is get a job. And I moved back to London and I started a job in recruitment. And it didn't ask us anywhere on the form, have you got any convictions? And I was 2 weeks into the job. I was doing amazing because I've done recruitment before. So I was smashing it. I was doing really well. And they came to my desk and they said, we want to have a chat with you. So I went to the meeting room and I sat down and I was like, really well. But the CEO was there and all the big bosses. And I was thinking in my head, I know I'm doing well, but I feel like this is a bit much. And they just went, oh, have you been on Big Brother? And I went, oh, yeah. And they said, you've also been to prison. We want you to leave right now. And I was like, wow. So that kind of opened my eyes. And I think, although I was trying to rebuild my life, it was actually very hard to get on. But again, I didn't do anything bad. I just got on with my life. I focused, and obviously here I am now. So I think for me, I'm a strong believer that everything happens for a reason. And for whatever, I shouldn't have went to prison, but I did. And I'm not going to blame the world and say I could have, but I didn't. I just said, you know what, it's happened, and it made me stronger, and it taught me a lot about who I am. Because if you want to find out who your true friends and your true family are, go on Big Brother and go to prison. And I tell you now, and like, well, you can see the ones that sell stories are the ones that are a bit like, they're the ones you like buy, and then the ones that actually, and sometimes it's the ones that you least expect are there for you. So I think for me, it kind of opened my eyes, and here I am. So I think I turned it into more of a positive than a negative. It's obviously not something that I talk about obviously regular, and it's not, but it is something that I'm proud of, because yes, I went to prison. I shouldn't have went there. But I did, but it happened, and I think, and I didn't appeal it because when I first went in, the solicitor that I'd used, as soon as I went down, I actually rang him, and I went, "Hi, Alan, it's me," and he went, "Who is it?" And I told him, and he went, "So, are you having any relationships in there?" And I was like, "What?" I only had 90 seconds, so my 90 seconds were ticking down, and I was like, "I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about my appeal." And he went, "Listen, I have a lot going on in my life right now," and hung the phone up. So I was like, wow, that's me solicitor. So I was like, do you know what? I'm not going to appeal it. And I didn't. And it didn't ruin my life. I've got on, and I'm still buying houses, renovating them, and doing what I love. And I've got great family and friends. So I'm very lucky. There you go.
My God, again, thanks for sharing that personal moment. My goodness.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, please. I feel grateful that you are, so open, and I can see that's how open you talk about, and you took the positive side of it as well. So I think that's what matters. And I'm sure people watching the interview, they're going to relate to that, because as you said, sometimes when you go through that situation, you think that your life is over, it's going to be hard for you to get something else. It's always, but if people listen to that, you can see that there's always a way of you to turn around and see the positive side of the experience you had, the challenge experience, for sure.
But you know what, though, just touching on that, I think that's very telling, because it's happened to us all, and I think some people become a victim of that, and it ruins their whole life. Like, my mum went into hospital when I was 20. Like, I used that, and that propelled us, and I stepped up to the table, and I was there for my brother, my sister, my dad, my family. Like, I'm never going to be my mum, of course, and my mum's still here fighting on. But I think for me, it's like that I lost my mum very young, and obviously that was very hard. Then obviously I'd done the Mr. Gay UK, which was like, wow, that's amazing. Then obviously done Big Brother, that's amazing. And I moved to London, and things were great. Then I went to prison, which was like, wow, I never ever in my life thought that would happen. But I've turned 5 people's lives around. I've got them off drugs. They now work, and they're not back in prison. So if 6 months out of my life means I can change 5 people's lives, I learn a lot about me, then happy days. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's another chapter to my life. But the thing is, that's not my story. That's just part of the chapter. And I think, there's so much that I've done in my life that's amazing and I'm proud of. But everything happens for a reason. And I think I learn from anything bad that happens. I'm like, wow, I won't do that again, or I'll learn from it. And some people don't, or they let it ruin their life, or they They just let history keep repeating itself, and that's just not what I'm about, really. So
very good. Thanks for sharing that. Thank you. Right, I have 3 questions left for you. Okay, Oliver? Let's do it. Okay, Oliver, before the next one now, tell me, I've never been in Newcastle before, yeah? If I would go, people would like to go there for the very first time. What would be your best piece of advice to see or to visit? What is a must?
Right, so I would go in the summer. That was what I would say. Otherwise, you'll go in if you go in the winter, it's quite cold. Well, we've had the storm here. It's actually snowing in Newcastle now. Like every time I go on Facebook, I'm pretty sure it's snowing in Newcastle. But what you will notice about people from Newcastle, so when I moved down to London, New Year's Eve 2009, and I dropped my bags off, I put a vest on, I went out. I went out like this, on New Year's Eve. I was in Trafalgar Square, it started to snow, and everyone was like, and I was like, this is really warm compared to where I'm from, this is great. So for me, so people in Newcastle, they do wear hardly any clothes. I mean, I don't do that now, I've been in London too long. But they don't wear any clothes when they go out. You'll see that. Go in the summer. Down on the quayside, we've got 5 bridges which are famous. You've got the Millennium Bridge, the Tyne Bridge, the High Level, the Swing Bridge, and I think there's like that the Red Chief Bridge. Is like all the bridges down by the river. It's very pretty. You've got really good shops. I'm sure you've all seen Geordie Shore as well. So you've got really good bars, nightlife, and Get Mortal, and it's cheap. Like I remember bringing my ex-fiance and we went up to Newcastle for the first time, and he went to the bar and he got 3. He was going, "What's a trebles bar?" And I was like, "You know a treble?" He was like, "Are you allowed to sell a treble?" I was like, "I guess so." So he got 3 trebles for under £10, and he was like, "Eh?" Like I swear, my life, it's as cheap as like 3 treble gin and tonics for under £10. He was like, "Oh, you give us too much money," and she was like, "No, that's how much it is." So trust me, it's cheap. So you'll have a good night out. The people are very friendly, especially being from London. You'll go there and you'll be like, everyone's like, "Hello," and you're like, "Oh, wow, this is nice." Everyone's really friendly, and yeah, people like they like to get dressed up and go out and have a lovely time. So that's what I would say. Newcastle, it's very, very pretty, and good shops and bars.
Amazing. Next question is, what are the top 3 things on your bucket list?
Oh my God, top 3. Okay, traveling. I want to go traveling. Definitely want to go traveling. So me and my best friend Andrew have been talking about going traveling. So I think we're going to do Europe. Want to do Amsterdam, Berlin. Going to go on to Italy because Italy's amazing. Go on to the Greek islands, Turkey. Want to do Cyprus. Go on to Southeast Asia where Andrew's been living for 7 years. Go to Thailand, Vietnam, Bali for a month, Australia, South America. Work our way up, North America, and then decide what we're going to do. So that is my bucket list. I would think so. Traveling is definitely on my agenda. I've wanted to do it for such a long time. Travel definitely on my bucket list. I would definitely think again, but it's all going to be traveling. Like places that I want to go to. Gosh, yeah, I would definitely say traveling. I would love to go like to somewhere where it's really, really snowy. I did quite a lot. No, last year I actually went up to Scotland and I got the sleeper train up to Scotland, which is the train that's got the beds on and you sleep on it, which was great. That was one thing ticked off. Then I went around the Scottish Highlands with my friend Cameron, he was on Big Brother in 2003. So me and him, his brother had a camper van and we went right around the Scottish Highlands. And we went to all the locks. So I think for me, like that, I've done quite a lot of my my bucket list. But on my bucket list now, I actually want to grow some herbs in the garden. Like it's very, very boring, isn't it? And I would love to see the Northern Lights as well. So I've been to Iceland, but we sadly missed them. So I would love to go and see the Northern Lights. And yeah, I would like to try and grow some herbs in the garden. I mean, I've got 3 plants in the house at the minute. That's like as far as I've got. So I need to really, I need to get green fingers, I think. So yeah, I need to practice.
Very good one. 2 questions left. Let's do it, Oliver. Before the next one, tell me what do you like the most about your job and what's the most challenging parts in your opinion?
God, I don't know. So what I love about my job, I've touched on before, is I love people. Obviously talking, as you can see, I do love talking to people. but I'm passionate about property. So like when I was a kid, like, and this is really weird, I was a weird kid. So I used to get me pocket money, right? And I would save up and I would buy paint. So I used to get the bus to B&Q or home base, and I'd be sitting on the bus with paint, and I'd come back because my mum used to paint the house like every year. She'd redo everything. So I used to help her and I knew how to paint. So when I was like 11, 12, 13, my mum would walk in my bedroom and she'd be like, I'd literally redone the bedroom. Like I'd painted it, I'd done bits and bobs. So for me, my mum would walk in and say, I can't believe you've done this. She'd say, wow, this is really good. She's like, you should actually take pictures and make a portfolio. She was like, so that's kind of what I want. So property was always more interior was my passion. And then when I left school, I did art and design at college because I wanted to be an interior designer. Then when I was at college, I did sales and just loved sales. So when I moved to London, obviously started in recruitment, did banking. Then I started in real estate. And I think that's kind of when I realized like I can kind of mix everything together. So I'm still buying and renovating properties as a hobby, but I get paid to meet people, go around people's houses, getting lots of ideas. And I think obviously now I'm a manager, so I run obviously a great team in London. And I think for me, I'm very big on training and people development, which again, I really like to train people and get them to be where they want to be, and get them to being successful. So I think for me, that's kind of the perks of the job. The challenging part is obviously is different people there's different people that you deal with, obviously, whether it's a buyer, whether it's a vendor, whether it's you interact with lots of different people, and there's every day is, that's one good thing though, every day is different, but it can also be a negative because you interact with so many different people, you can't control what they're going to be like. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of unpredictable. Do you know what I mean? Because you don't know how people are going to be when people are buying a property. There's lots of things that can come up in a building survey where people freak out and they're like, oh my God, the house is falling down. And you're like, it's a really good survey. So it's one of those things, I think, where it can be challenging, but you've just got to be focused and obviously do the best you can for everyone.
Very good. Next question for you is, if someone offered to tell your future, would you accept it or not, and why?
Oh God. It depends. When you say future, it depends, because if somebody could tell us at what day I was going to die, would that change your life? Because I think it probably would change the way that you lived your life, but wouldn't that be very sad if somebody said, you're going to die on the 29th of March in 2030, and you'd be thinking, right, I've only got 8 years left, and I think it would change the way you lived. But I like to think that I live my life every day as if it's my last, because things that have happened. I mean, last year, from April to September, I lost 7 friends to cancer, to anorexia, to suicide, to different things. So for me, it was like, that opened up my eyes. And I think to lose so many friends in a 5-month period, and they were all 34 to 39 years old. So they were all very young, very beautiful, very talented. So that opened my eyes a lot. And I think I already knew how fragile life was because of what happened to me mum out of the blue when I was 20 years old. So I'm very aware. But you can't forget that, and we can all get bogged down with what's going on and negative things. And I think we need to be positive. We need to just focus on the positive in everything. And I think live your life as if this could literally be your last day. It really, really is, I think, from my perspective. And that's so if somebody told me my future, it'd be great for them to tell us, because hopefully I'm going to meet someone. They might be waiting for us in Thailand. They could be waiting for me on a TV show. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to go on TV and get married. Who knows? Or I don't know. Who knows? I think from my perspective, I'm very open-minded. But I don't think it would change the way I would live. Even if someone said it was, look, I know in my heart and in my head, I'm always going to be okay, because I've got my own back. So I don't rely on anyone. I'm quite self-sufficient and I don't need anyone. I'm happy single. I've got a good life. I've got a good job. I'm very comfortable. So I think if I meet a man or whatever, great. Like that's like a cherry on top. But like, it would be interesting if they could tell us. But then I would want to make. But somebody said was, look, you're going to go traveling, or you're going to do this, and that's going to happen. That might alter my future. I want to do. Like I said, I'm on the journey that I'm on now, that I'm meant to be on. So if somebody told me, oh, this is going to happen, And even people say it was, if you could go back in time, would you change anything? I'm like, well, no, because it would alter my future and it would alter things. So I think I'm happy to live day by day, like live my life as if it's my last, be kind to people, have a good heart, focus, know exactly where I want to be. And it is funny because if you put your mind to something, you can do it. Even if something seems impossible, like you're going to go on a TV show, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, whatever you want to do. If you've got a dream and you want it enough and you water it enough, I promise you can make it happen. So if someone was to come in and like read me cards and say, that's going to happen on that day, you're going to die on that day, I think it would probably change my life and change the experience that I'm having now. So I probably would be like, there's part of it that I'm very nosy. I'd probably be like, yeah, tell us. But then when I know, I'd be like, I wish I didn't know that now. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of a double-edged sword. So there's part of us that would say yes, but then there's also part of us that would just be like, nah, I'm more than happy just to live as I am right now. So, yeah.
Very good, very good. Oliver, ready for the last question?
Yes, I am indeed.
I'm sure you are. Let's do it. Great, I got some dance moves from you in the end. Very good.
I know, literally. I'm warming up now. It's the last question.
Right, before the last question, Oliver, as you mentioned about, I think those two main, let's say, things that gave a big impact in your life, Big Brother, and also, you mentioned about your experience in prison. Right, when you think of both, tell me, when you think about Big Brother, what's the best memory that you think about? My God, that was like the best memories I ever had. Also, in prison as well, if you could say, okay, I meant to be here for this, now I'm so grateful that I went through that situation, because this memory, you said a lot about it, but tell me one day that you said, okay, oh my God, was something very rewarding, or said, okay, I'm so thankful for that challenge moment in my life because I lived that, I went through that situation. Both, what that would be.
If I'm honest with you, I think with Big Brother, I think it was obviously my dream to get on. I'd watched the show at that point for 11 years, and to be chosen to be a housemate was amazing, and it was my dream, like I said. So to get on, all the happy memories. I mean, I've met some really, really amazing people through the show, like on the show that I'm still in touch with. So Sapphire, Chris, Carly, Noreen. God, there's more. I still speak to Ben Izziel. There's quite a lot of them that I speak to. Some of them there's about 5 or 6 I still see now, but there are others that I still stay in touch with online. And it is very much like a family, like the Big Brother family. Because I grew up watching the show, it's almost like when you have the reunions, and like I said, with a job, if there's 15 people, there was actually 21 all in my year. So you're not going to get on with all 21. You might like them, but you're not going to be like friends and living in each other's pockets. Do you know what I mean? But when you have the reunions, there's people from other years, like you've got Glyn, you've got Cameron, you've got obviously Richard. Like there's people from all the other years who you meet, like that, like Ashleen, I've met her, she's a lovely girl. Like there are people who you meet from the other years where you're like it's almost like a family, and you gravitate more towards people from other years. Like Katria, who was in the year before me, she's amazing. Like we went to see the Venga Boys in 2020. Like for me, there's people from other years that it opened lots of doors for us. I ticked a massive thing off the bucket list, like a dream. That's something that I always wanted to do. But I also met some amazing people in my year, but also from the other seasons as well. So I think for me, so that's what I take of it. Obviously all the tasks, I mean, I've never, the only thing you've got to worry about is, are you going to pass the shopping task? Like I think there was one month where, because you have a good month, a bad month and a good month. The bad month, you fail every task, you're starving. And my grandmother rang up Endemol and said, you need to feed my grandson. I can see it in his face. He's crying out for a meal. Like literally, that's what she said. And I probably was, because I've never eaten a chickpea, man, or a lentil in my life. And I haven't ever since. So in fact, no, I like chickpeas. Is that what's in hummus? Maybe I love chickpeas. I don't know. But anyway, so that was a good experience. So you're kind of in a bubble, and all you've got to worry about is how you're being perceived in the outside world. Are you going to pass the shopping task? And am I going to be evicted this week? And then going to, obviously, the prison thing, it's similar in a way. You're in a bubble. You're thinking about your shopping tasks while you're shopping. But I think for me, like I said, I shouldn't have went to prison, but I did. I was sent to prison on my birthday. There's 365 days. If that's not a sign, then to me it's like, come on, like you went to prison on your birthday. Like it couldn't have been the day before, the day after, or the month after. I was there. I was sent there on my birthday, and the funny thing was, because it got in a few newspapers. The year after I got out, because the first date I could have got out, I got out. The night before I left, because like I said, I did amazing when I was in there. I turned it into a positive. I read books on the mind, psychology. I was determined to turn it into a positive thing. And like I said, there's 5 guys who I worked with as a drug and alcohol mentor. I've got them off drugs. Like they've moved on with their life. I've changed their lives, and that's humbling. It's a nice experience. But the night before I left, the governor of the whole prison, he called me to his office, and he just said, listen, can I just say thank you to you? And I went, thank you to me? I was like, what do you mean? I was like, I want to say thank you to you. I said, you don't know me. I went, you've never met me in your life. I said, but I had trusted jobs. Like I painted the staff gym. There was loads of stuff. Like I did loads. I was always busy doing something in front of my time. And I said, anything I wanted to do, you guys supported us. And I was there. And he said, look, he said, I know. He went, I know. I've done this job for a long time. He said, I know you will never be back in prison. He said, I also know I could give you the keys to my house with my children, my family in there, and nothing would be touched. He went, I know that everything would be as it was. And I was like, well, of course. But like, yeah, that's amazing. Like, so it's nice that the governor of the prison actually seen something in me. And the night before I got out, he pulled me to his office and just said, I want to thank you. And for the governor of the prison to thank me, he just said, you're a breath of fresh air and you've come in. And I just was like, wow. So that to me is like, that's testament that I can turn things into a positive. I mean, obviously I never appealed the conviction, but the year after, so my sister had a custody hearing with her ex-husband, and me being the big brother, the big shot, I was like, right, that's it. I'm going to get you the best lawyer in London, right? £1,000 an hour. So I'd spent £5,000 and they hadn't even sent a letter. And I was like, I'm not doing this. I've seen Legally Blonde. I will represent you. So there's me, right? I literally swear down. I swear. So I literally got all of his statements, and I literally was like, firstly, I was like, I've never done law degree, but I literally was like, what is the law? So I did my homework, and I had to just prove that he wasn't telling the truth. So I thought, look, if Elwood's can do it, I can fucking do it, watch. So I literally went through his statements, and I highlighted, because my sister used to do everything on the phone. And I said, no, Sarah, what you need to do, you need to start doing everything on text message so I can print it off. I've got proof, because you can't prove a voice call. She went, okay, started doing everything on text message. I literally printed off all of her text messages. And when I used to come up on the train for 3 hours, I would just be highlighting in yellow, saying, see Appendix A, see Appendix B. So I was just proving he's a liar. So literally, so we won the court case. But then the funny thing was, so the guy, not the solicitor, but the barrister who represented me, we were on a break. And when we came out, he seen me in my suit and he went, oh, you're not back again, are you? And I went, oh, no, it's for her this time. It's not, I'm doing well, I'm good. And he said to us, he said, the judge, when he realised, because when they were in the chambers after, he read the newspaper saying from the BB house to jailhouse, he said, oh, I never realised he was on Big Brother. He went, I would love to see that as an appeal. But obviously that never got to me, so I never appealed it. But at the end of the day, it hasn't ruined my life. No, it hasn't. It's just another chapter to my book. So there we go. So hopefully that, I probably talked too much.
No, you're perfect. I love it. I love that you are sharing that. Again, I think people watch, it's always good to know, you know what I mean, those challenges in life as well. Because when you see a very good looking guy, you had like some opportunities in your life, and they think, oh my God, I'm sure for him it might be easy. And you have so much challenge in your life. And I think that's, it's people, they can see the other side, you know what I mean? They can see how we can cope with both, you know, it's not about always, you know what I mean, everything perfect, everything is the spotlight. Sometimes as well we go under the, you know what I mean, we have very challenges in life as well.
It did. And I think the thing what went for me, I think when I was in prison, obviously the lads, I got on with everyone because I'm not a bad person, so I tried to go out my way to be as good as I can. But some of the guys, they were in prison when I was on the show, so it was almost like somebody from the TV. And it's not like it wasn't like a probation or a prison officer who they see as a privileged or whatever. It was someone who they knew what I'd done in my life, which is they were proud of that. But I was in the same shoes as them, and I said, look, anything can happen to the world. I said, am I blaming the whole world? Because I started reading lots of psychology books, and when I was like obviously in the room with them for that hour, although we're on the same wing and we'd see each other every day, when we were in the room, I went, this is just me and you now. And I would obviously go through, I was asking them questions. Now there's one guy who is in his 60s and he's used heroin for over 40 years, and he's in and out of prison. So the first week, I said to him, I went, look, I said, when I see you next week, I want you to write me a story about a time in your life when you look back and you're very proud. So we came back the next week and we went through everything, and then he read me the story and he was smiling from ear to ear. And I was like, so come on then. I said, and he said, when he was 16 years old, he joined the army, and he'd tell us this long story. It was beautiful. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. I said, so what's happened to that guy? Oh, he's long gone. He's dead. And the drug. And I went, no, he hasn't. I went, that lad is still inside you right now. I went, what strength do you think that 16-year-old lad possessed? And he was like, well, he was ambitious. He'd never touched a drug. He was all these positive things. And I said, that ambitious, driven lad is still inside of you right now. I went, he's not gone. He went, oh, he's long gone. He's dead. I went, he's not. I promise you, that lad is still inside of you now. Then the next week, I said, I want you to come back. I said, I want you to write down 3 good things that happen every single day. And he went, 3 good things? I mean, yeah, nothing good happens. But again, going back to the brain, if you're in that negative headspace, your brain will not register anything positive. Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like, if you're late for work and you think, oh, I'm going to have a really good day, your brain doesn't register everything positive that happens. And some people have that mentality all of the time. So for these guys who maybe have been using drugs for 40 years, in and out of prison, maybe feel like they haven't got very much going on, I wanted to make them realize that you are that ambitious, driven person that's still there. And then he came back the next week, and he some days there was 4 good things that happened, and I was like, wow. I said, whether it's that you got the meal you wanted, you got a letter from home, you got a visit, the staff were nice to you. I went, if you look for good things, you will find good things. And he literally came back. He was reading off all these good things, because I wanted to train his brain to say, look, firstly, we need to break the negative cycle. Just because you're in here, turn it into a positive. Look at me. Am I blaming people? No, I'm not. I'm getting on. I'm trying to help others. I went, and then he literally after that, he just stopped everything. He stopped drugs completely, because they have something in prison called a Subutex program, which is like a heroin substitute. And basically he stopped it all, and now he's moved on. But I think for me, like I said, it's just about retraining your brain. And I think hopefully like people can do that. And I think bad things will happen all the time, but try and get negative thoughts out of your head, cut out negative people, and when bad things happen, just try and learn from it and think, for whatever reason, I'm meant to be here right now, and you're going to be okay. We're all going to be okay.
As they say, all of us at one point we're gonna, fall down. But the challenge, how you pick you up, that's the biggest challenge. That's the for sure. Oliver, next question for you is, if you could have a superpower, what that would be and why?
Oh God. So if I had a superpower, so I would love to be able to fly, I think. And yeah, I don't know why. I think I would love to be able to fly. I think I would love to be able to fly. I don't know if this is a bad thing, because if you Google what your dreams mean, it actually means bad things. But not all the time, but every once a year, once every few years, I have this dream where I'm running and like my feet come off the ground a little bit, and I'm like, hey, this is good. Then I go a little bit off, then before I know, I'm flying around. I'm like, this is amazing. But I think that means that you're trying to escape something bad in your life. But do you know when you sometimes get that? So I think being able to fly would be amazing. I think again, just maybe that freedom feeling where you just and just take off. I would love that. Yeah.
And if you had superpower flying and you could fly somewhere right this moment, where would you fly?
I would fly to Thailand and I'd go and see my best friend Andrew. It was his birthday yesterday, the 18th of Feb. So what I would do is I would fly to Thailand. I'd land, because he sent us a picture last night and was like, I wish you were here. So I would just land and be like, I would go, let's go out, happy birthday. So that would be me. That's where I would go, definitely.
Very sweet. Okay, Oliver, it's not the end yet. Okay, let's play now the word association game. I'm going to give away some words and you just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay?
Oh my God, okay.
So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like, don't forget to share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game.
I'm ready.
Family.
Love.
Money.
Greed.
How about love?
Yes.
One word for life.
Live. Is that
One
the same
word.
thing?
Okay. One word for sex. Say again?
Passion.
Passion, okay. Politics.
Boring.
Religion.
Evil. I don't believe in religions anyway, but yeah, sorry for another day. Yeah,
Okay.
not good.
All right. One word for fear.
Overcome it. Like overcome.
Okay. Friendship.
Love. Again. Love.
One word for desire.
Want.
One word for regret.
Oh, regret. Sadness, maybe.
Success.
Yeah. Happiness.
Wish.
What's that? Wish.
Yeah, one word for wish.
Genie.
A genie in the bottle. Dun, dun, dun.
Gonna rub you the right way.
One word for happiness.
And smiling.
One word for Newcastle.
Friendly.
Friendly.
Cold though, cold.
One word for England.
Historical.
Okay. And the last one now. Big Brother. One word.
Memories. Like memorable.
Amazing. Let's pretend now it's my turn now to go to Thailand. Yeah, I'm gonna fly. I'm gonna go all the way to Thailand right now to meet Andrew, and I'm going to ask Andrew. Tell me the most beautiful thing about Oliver, and tell me something that he still needs to work on to improve on. What he would say.
So I think what he would say about me is, I think my energy, because I think when I first met Andrew, so I'd come out in the gay scene and Andrew was actually living abroad, and then he came back. So I was on a night out, and I was maybe a bit like cocky when I was young, I don't know. So everyone was like, oh, we're going back to Andrew's house after the club. So I was like, so there was these girls out and they were dressed as builders. So I had a hammer and I had a screwdriver, and I was going around really drunk saying, do you want to be hammered? You're going to get screwed. I'm like, oh my God, I was only like fucking 19. Anyway, so this Andrew came up as he went, where are you going after? Yeah, I went, oh, I can't come back. I'm going back to Andrew's. He went, I am Andrew. And then, anyway, so we went back to his house, and basically, I think somebody was storing furniture in his spare bedroom. So there was a sofa that was upturned, right? And everyone was on the bed, and I was sitting on the top. I mean, I don't know who I think I am. Like, I was sitting, I didn't even know these people. I'm sat on the top of the sofa with my legs crossed, telling them stories, and they all were just like this, like looking up at it. And Andrew said, because me and Andrew are very similar, Andrew said he walked past, yeah, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. Andrew said he walked past the bedroom and he was like, who the is that talking? He was like, oh, and he listened, and then he was like, he's going to be my friend. And then me and him have been friends ever since. So I think Andrew would probably say my aura, and because like when I can walk into a room with me smile on me, energy, he always says I can light the room up. Things that you'd say I have to work on, like talk too much, and maybe I'm a little bit stubborn sometimes, but then I'm not. Sometimes I can be like, nah, I'm not doing it, and then I just forget and think I'm not even bothered. Do you know what I mean? So you probably would say that about us, I would think. Get him on the phone. I'm joking. Can you imagine?
If I would ask the same question to your lovely dad, he would say the same?
Dad would say, he calls me super son. So he would say, I'm very kind. Like, I do everything I can to give me family and friends, I guess, a good life. So you'd say that I'm very kind and generous, I suppose. But obviously, there's not many people who, like, I know people my age that would move a family member hundreds of miles and have them living with them. But I think for me, I'm in a good stage at my life. I can do that, and we don't know what you've got that's gone. So I think it's very much about making sure that you can love, and if you're in a position to do something, then I will. And maybe I'm very fortunate that I can help my dad. Obviously when I'm working, and it's also quite nice to have him here as well, just to be able to cook for him and look after him and know that he's loved. Do you know what I mean? Rather than being miles away and missing him, you know.
And what he would say that you need to improve on?
Oh, maybe I'm quite argumentative. Like literally, like, well, I'm not, but like, I can't be. Yeah, oh God, it's all coming out now.
Let's play now, Oliver, and the magic box, and you can ask me a question. Okay, you can ask me a question now, Oliver.
So, William, what I'm going to ask you is, I think you've kind of answered it though, because I'm guessing you're from Brazil. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, yep. That was one of my questions. I know that. What was it that brought you to London? You said you've been here for 17 years now. You're from Brazil. Where in Brazil are you from? And this is a double question. I'm not asking like 3 questions in one. So you're from Brazil. Where are you from in Brazil? You've been here 17 years. What was it about London that attracted you to London? And do you get back to Brazil very often?
Very good. I love the question. Right, the first one. I'm originally from a state called Mato Grosso, northwest of Brazil. It's like 2 hours by plane from São Paulo or Rio. So it's a very middle of Brazil. Why brought me to London? Right, so I always been very passionate about the English language. I love the language. I remember as a child when I was studying English, and I remember seeing my books. I remember seeing Big Ben. I've seen Eiffel Tower. I remember seeing these big main points in the world, you know, like the Statue of Liberty in New York. And I was like, oh my God, I'd love to be in those places one day. And I've always been fascinated about the language. Back in Brazil, Brazilian people, we tend to go to America. We have this America dream. Everyone wants to go to US.
Over the border, yeah.
We have no thing about, and of course, as a teenager, I want to go to America as well. Back at the time, my parents, they couldn't afford to help me to get a visa, to afford me to study or to live abroad. Long story short, like a long story, it's funny how life takes you in a different path that you're not expecting. So I had always want to live in a country where the mother language is English. I always want to live somewhere where I could speak English every single day. And one day, I remember I had the opportunity to go to Portugal, and this lady told me, said, William, why don't you go to Portugal first? And from Portugal, you can go to London, you can go to Ireland. There's so many, you go to those countries where you can speak English. And I was like, oh my God, that's something that I didn't think about, because I just want to go to America, I want to go to the US. Anyway, so like long story short, I went to Portugal. I had the opportunity to go to Portugal. I was living there for 5 years, and after that, I came to London. I was like, okay, and that was the main reason why. It's because of the language. But London wasn't my plans. Portugal wasn't my plans, and I'm so grateful that the universe brought me to London, because I love being here. I found my place here. I couldn't see myself living anywhere else. You know, I think London is a good place to be. The last question was, the last part was,
do you get back to Brazil very often?
Oh yes, okay. So I try to go to Brazil once a year. Yeah, I meant to go last year for Christmas, but because of the war, you know what I mean, went literally upside down. I couldn't go. So yeah, I try to go once a year, but sometimes I go once in 2 years. So it depends. It depends how, because for you to travel to Brazil, you need to organize holidays for the whole year, and it takes all your days. You know what I mean? So it's
not just like jumping on a plane. It's quite far, isn't it? Yeah, and
it takes me like 24 hours to go, 24 hours to come back. So like 2 days, and it's always. I need to save. So it's a lot of things you need to organize. So yes, I try to go once a year, but it's not always possible. So London is home. I think I always tell friends.
But do the family come and see you? Do your family come and see you?
My mom, I brought my mom for her 51st birthday 4 years ago, and for the very first time, and we did a tour. We went to Portugal, we went to Paris, we went to Holland. So we did like a tour in Europe, and it was the first time that she left Brazil. It was the first time that she saw the sea in her life. Can you imagine?
Amazing.
It was the first time that she left the state where I come from. So everything was the first time. So
amazing. That's
yeah,
so cool.
actually the present was for me, not for her, because just to see her eyes, look in the sea for the very first time in Portugal was priceless. And I was like, oh my God, if I would die today, right now, I would go happy, because it was like, it was something
Amazing.
very special. So yeah, that's a little bit of my story, how I got to London.
Lovely.
And I'm glad to be here. I think London it's home, and I love being here for sure.
Yeah, I agree. It's lovely. No, it's great. And I think that's the thing, wherever I go, whether it's Brighton, whether it's Newcastle, whether it's on holiday, I do look forward to coming home to London, because it is home, isn't it? Home is where your heart is, and I think my heart is very much yes. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's amazing.
Absolutely. And I think when I was born, my mom thought that's okay. I think he's gonna, even because my name William, she said, okay, I think he's gonna be in England for some years.
you named after one of the kings.
No, actually, I was born the same year as Prince William. We were born the same year, 1982, but he's older. He's from June and I'm from November. So yeah, we are born the same year.
Brilliant. And that's your mom obviously got inspired by Diana and Charles.
I asked her this question one day. I asked her in the past, I said, did you name me William because of, you know what I mean, because of Prince William? She said, no, I just like the name. I just liked the sound of William. And yeah, I'm grateful for that. I like it. It's a very old English, old-fashioned English name, very and much. I just like it for sure. Oliver, did you have a good time? Did you enjoy the interview?
It's been lovely. Thank you so much for having us. It's been amazing. It's very nice to chat to you, and the dancing and the music has been great as well.
I'll tell you something now, Oliver. I tend, when I invite my guests on the show, I tend not to look too much into their profile, because I would like to get to see. I got all the guests through the game. And I'm so glad that, when I saw your profile, of course, I can see you got my attention about your look, about you, and I just had a brief look in your profile, just a little bit, just to see where you're from, some little bits, but I didn't go through. I didn't know about Big Brother. I didn't know, of course, about your challenge moment in prison as well. And I'm so grateful.
It's not on there. It's not, because it's very hidden. So I don't really talk about either, because I think in a weird way, because I think what happened, because if I tell you that I was on Big Brother, you look into it and then you realize I've been to prison. So it's kind of, the prison thing kind of took away that shine, because I was always so proud to talk about Big Brother. And although I'm not ashamed of the prison thing, it's kind of like, if you tell someone you've been on Big Brother. So now people say to us, oh my God, you look very familiar. And I'm just saying, oh, I've got that kind of face. Because if I tell them I was on Big Brother, then if I have to tell them, because if they Google it and they read up, it sounds like I'm this awful person. And I would rather that they heard from me what actually happened, rather than them reading what the newspapers have made it sound like. Does that make sense? So I kind of don't really document either of that anymore, which is quite a shame, because, like I said, they're both very big parts of me. But I've just kind of moved on and kind of just put them to the back of my head. So it's nice, and I'm happy to talk about them, but just they don't come up that often. It's kind of strange,
It does make sense what you're saying, but at the same time as well, Oliver, I think if people if they would, if they wouldn't like to see you because of that, it's their problem, or if they, I think I had some guests on the show. They're very open as well about it. They've been to prison, they had experience, they shared as well. So I think, again, if I would know that, wouldn't make any difference, because everyone can be part of the show. I think the show is all about being yourself. It's all about you sharing memories about your life. That's what the show is about. And I like when people, they are open, because I think not just that, but people watch the interview as well. They can connect with you, and they can see that's not, they are not alone out there. There are so many people went through the same situation. And maybe they are going now, or maybe they went in the past and they don't talk about, because it's good to be yourself. Why not? People, they're going to come because yourself. If they don't come, if they don't like you, it's their problem. They're not
worth it. They're not worth it. But the thing is, I remember after prison, I think I dated somebody up in Manchester, and we'd been dating for about 2 or 3 weeks. And I told him on day one about everything. So he knew my past. So there was no hidden. Out the blue, I got a text message saying, I've spoken to my friends about you, and I don't want to get involved with someone like you. I was like, wow, someone like me. I was like, what? So I just was like, someone like me, that's like, basically, like, they've obviously read the newspaper thing, and it makes it sound like in fact, it's actually exaggerated, and some of the stuff, it's made out that I was this other person, when that isn't what actually happened. So at the end of the day, if people want to think that, they were never worth my energy or my light anyway. So see you later.
It doesn't matter what we do in life. There's always going to be someone that they like us because we are, and they dislike us because we are as well. So it doesn't matter. So we need those people as well to make the balance in our lives. I think the people who doesn't like us or people who like us, both of them, they are important, and we should be grateful for those as well. Because imagine if everyone loves you, it would be boring. I think we need those people as well to make us understand. Yeah. So it's about skies, flowers, beautiful. There's challenge moments as well. But saying that, I was mentioning because, Oliver, as I can see that, as I said, you went through a big moment in your life about Big Brother. At the same time as well, you had this very big challenge in your life. And it's good to talk to someone, this mindset that you have, this positivity, you're sharing your story, you're not afraid or you're not ashamed of it. And I think that's what life is about. It's for us to face challenges, is us to face our, spotlight moments in life and see that it's all part of the journey. And we are here to be, to connect with people and just be ourselves. So yeah, thanks so much for being part of the show. Thanks for being so open.
Pleasure.
And bring this good energy as well to the show. I think I'm very grateful. Before you go, just if you can share a positive message or positive quote, something that inspires you in life.
So a positive quote I would say is just something that you were saying there actually. So if it was sunny every single day, you wouldn't appreciate the sunshine. So I think it takes the storms and the rainy days to make you appreciate the good times. And that's how life is. Everything happens for a reason, good and bad. As humans, we tend to lock onto the good and think this is amazing. Then when the bad things happen, you kind of blame the whole world and it's because of this and because of that. I think, at the end of the day, look, good and bad things are going to happen. Some people do have more negative things happen to them than others. And so I don't believe in luck. I really, really believe that we all create our own luck. And I don't think one person's more luckier than another. I think some people they have that dream, they have that hunger. And whatever you want to do, whether you want to do something on TV, whether you want to go to university, whether you want to get that big job, whether you want to go traveling, the only person that's stopping you from doing that is you. Because I'm not saying that everyone is born with exactly the same, because I'm from working class council background growing up, but I had so much love, and I'm now in a better position. I didn't have any rich family looking after me, giving me a deposit to buy property in London. I worked my bum off. Come to London. I was renting a house in Newcastle. It was a 3-bed house for £400 a month. I come to London, I was paying £2,000 a month. I was 22 years old. I was earning money, but I was like, I'm buying. So for a year, I saved, and I got my deposit together within a year, and I bought my first place, and that's how I got on. No, but I had a vision, I had a dream, and I turned it into a reality. Same with Big Brother. I wanted to go on the show. I made it a reality. And obviously, I think that's where, and that's not, and there are probably people who are better off than me, worse off than me, but it doesn't matter what your beginnings are. We all have the same. I'm not saying that we all have the same chance, because it is harder for some people, but I do believe that we can, if you focus enough and you want it, it will find a way. And I think what happens is we want something a little bit, but then you think, this is never going to happen, so you give up. And I think if you want it enough, if you're hungry for it, trust me, it might take 2 or 3 years, but it will come. If something is meant for you, it won't pass you. And I think that's the way I look at it. So just be kind, obviously. And again, another thing, I watched a film in 2015, which was the year after prison. And in Cinderella, her mom says, have courage and be kind. And I mean, again, that is another film. Films that resonated with us. I should have said that as well. That's Cinderella from 2015, because I'm a strong believer. Have courage and be kind, because you need to have the courage to do it in the first place. But if you are kind and you do it from a good place, and I promise you, you'll be fine. And I think bad things will happen, but when they do, just think, okay, great, that's happened. Learn from it, move on, don't dwell on it too much. So we all control our own destiny. And if you want something, you'll get it. And I'm a strong believer. There you go.
Thank you so much. Oliver, it was a pleasure. Thanks so much. My neighbor, my
pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
I know. I know.
Take care. Thanks so much for
Good
the
night, God
interview.
bless.
Bye-bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.